With us now from Capitol Hill, we've got Republican Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma. He's going to tell us he's figured out the health care bill.
Yes.
He knows exactly what's in it. He knows what the final vote's going to be, and he's going to tell us all.
Tom.
Right now. Tom, go.
Well, actually, I'm working on appropriations first. I'd like to fund the government, and that's a place where we had a big breakthrough. Actually, the first real Democratic, Republican, and frankly presidential negotiation of the Trump era just took place and was successful. In other words, we're going to get, I think, a pretty good bill. We're going to get it across the floor with a bipartisan majority, and everybody, frankly, is going to walk away with some wins. So it's the way good deal making actually happens. So, while we're struggling with health care, we've got an example in the appropriations process of how to move forward, in my view.
So, Congressman, is that a week extension, or is it longer?
No, this will fully fund the government. It's not a CR. It's not an extension. It's a full appropriations bill.
Oh, well.
I'm very pleased. The NIH will get a $2 billion increase, Center for Disease Control increase, and major military increase that the president fought for and won, some border control money that he fought for and won. So the Democrats had some successes and some programs they like, and also kept out a lot of the riders, which frankly Trump can deal with himself since he runs the government. So again, it's something everybody could walk away from. It'll pass with big bipartisan majority.
But you say funding. We talked about it before. So you said, despite the proposed cuts, funding for the National Institutes of Health is actually going to go up.
Yeah, it really will. $2 billion is a big increase. It's the second year in a row we've been able to do $2 billion increases.
That's great
I'm
news.
Very pleased with that. Yeah, very good thing.
There were some other things that we'd heard throughout the past month or so. Some pretty crazy suggestions on cuts. State Department. I saw there was, 36% proposed cut. I know a lot of the senators said that wasn't going to pass. Do you know off the top of your head, and I know it's a big...
Yeah, no, it's pretty much level funding. Now, remember, that's for this year, for the balance of the fiscal year 17. Right. We're late getting this done. The president's proposals are for next year, although he certainly had some in the supplemental for cuts this year. But, his main aim was to get additional defense spending. He got, a lot of what he wanted there. And he wanted to get additional money for border security. He didn't get money for the wall, although to be fair, you couldn't contract in the amount of time left in the year for that anyway. So he settled for what I think was a good decision on his part, more technology and repair of the structures that we have, the barriers that we have there now. So good start for the president. Again, he got some big wins, and but again, so did congressional Republicans, so did congressional Democrats.
Eddie?
Representative Cole, this is Eddie Glaude, and this is a selfish question. As a professor at Princeton,
he is so selfish, Congressman. So this should not surprise you. Go ahead, Eddie.
What about the National Endowment for the Arts?
It's there. It's fine. It's, I think, level funded. So National Endowment for the Arts, National Endowment for Humanities, Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Again, all three level funded. Corporation for Public Broadcasting picked up $10 million for a interconnectivity device that they need to improve their service. So, again, all these things got through fine. Now, again, we'll start now working on next year. But, frankly, I sort of like the way the negotiation went, and everybody staked out their positions, but then they move toward one another over the course of the negotiation. That suggests to me that we're finally moving to a period, perhaps, where we can do a little bit more of that on things like tax reform and infrastructure.
Congressman?
Mark Halpern here. Is a gas tax or breaking up the banks, are either of those good ideas?
It's hard to say what's a good idea until you actually legislatively. On the gas tax, it's part of a larger infrastructure bill in a period of pretty low gasoline prices. Notice if you're from Oklahoma, you keep an eye on the price of crude. It's down below $50 again. If you're ever going to do it, this is probably as good a time as any. You can also, couple that with a trigger that say if gasoline went above a certain price that the tax would be removed. There's a variety of ways to approach that. In terms of breaking up the banks, again, it depends on what you're talking about. I don't know that you need to break them up, but look, banks that are so large that they can cause catastrophic damage to the economy deserve a different degree of regulation than community banks, which frankly we know how to handle pretty well. And one of the great problems of Dodd-Frank is we imposed a lot of over-regulation on small banks, and it's made a big difference, and it's actually advantaged the big banks. They've picked up a much larger share of the total banking market than they had on the eve of the Great Recession. So that tells me that the regulatory scheme we've devised is not very good, because the aim was not to concentrate more power in big banks, but that's exactly what Dodd-Frank did.
Congressman, big picture, are you concerned about the president's recent flurry of statements, and if you missed one or two, I mean, North Korea, healthcare, NAFTA, even his sort of rambling, incoherent statement about his relationship with President Obama, which trailed off with no answer and kind of an awkward...
The inconsistency.
Are you concerned at all about this in any way?
Well, you're always concerned, I think, when you see things that suggest inconsistency in the presidency. On the other hand, I've watched the president in the health care negotiation where, honestly, I think he's done very well. And he's actually pushed this thing in the right direction. I've watched him in the appropriations process where, again, I think, I disagreed with some of his initial positions, but he proved to be very reasonable in negotiations. He set realistic goals for what he wanted to attain. Overseas, again, honestly, I look at the actions in Syria. I look at what I think have been pretty astute moves with respect to using China against North Korea a little bit and making it unmistakably clear to the North Koreans that we will act if they do something provocative, like attacking South Korea. Those things suggest to me that the president's getting his sea legs and doing pretty well.
But of course, he said he'd be honored to meet with the head of North Korea, and has...
Are you sure about that?
...adopted a program, invited Tyrant to work day every week.
And, well, as a proud Chickasaw, of course, my great offense is anything nice said about Andrew Jackson. That's the one that concerns me the most. Yeah. But since my great-grandfather was forcibly removed out of
I'm a little more concerned about North Korea right now, but go ahead.
I agree. Well, no, I agree. Look, but again, I think you have to look at the actions there, and I think the actions are crystal clear. If anything, he's been more decisive with North Korea, and the administration has, than we've seen in a long, long time. And now, whether that works or not, I think is anybody's guess, because there's not much you can do to them. It's a country where the people are starving, where the regime's oppressive and aggressive, and so no American president seems to have had a great deal of luck. But at least I think President Trump's giving it a good shot.
Congressman Tom Cole, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it.